How you doing, everybody? Hope everybody's well. It's a beautiful day outside, beautiful spring day. It's March the 11th 2010 and it's around about 10:30 in the morning. Hope everybody gets a chance to get out. If there's sunshine where you are, get out and try and get into the garden, do a wee bit of work or something. Alright, I want to talk about a thing which emerged up yesterday in conversation, and the reason it emerged, and I didn't make a post yesterday, I had to go away and think about it because I didn't expect what happened. I had a brief conversation with somebody, a very worldly man. We were talking about what was going on in Europe and what was going on in the world and all the rest of it, and what came up was the concept of financial terrorism. So he posed a question to me, and he said to me, how would you deal with it? You're always coming up with these crazy radical sort of answers and solutions around. How would you deal with it? So I had to go away and think about it. So this little posting is sort of like my response to him, so I'll ask him to have a look at it later on when he gets home from work or whatever. Alright, but it's a general discussion about the whole concept of financial terrorism, and it's been going on for a long time. I mean, really, it's using economics as a force majeure, as a weapon. That's what it is. I mean, wars are not just won with men in tanks or in planes or in ships. It's quite complex what goes on. So it's always been there. It's a sort of a secretive world. It's almost like an espionage world, but it's real, and it goes on all around us. And the reason it came up was a couple of things came up. I want to post I want to put a link up now here. I'm going to put it up so you can have a wee look at it. I'm going to stick it up. It's a scan. That's it there. It's it relates to it's a graph, obviously, as you can see, and relates to the amount of these credit default swaps that are swishing around the place. Okay, it tells you a lot on 60 trillion or something. It tells you. Okay, so you have to put that into perspective. That's about 4 times what the GDP of America is. So give you an idea. We're talking about a colossal sum of money. Okay, we're not talking about a small amount of money here. And there are at the moment there are people who act out major roles in this whole financial terrorism on a world scale, and one of them's a fellow called George Soros. And this fellow has a very unsavoury past. He's as a boy he was involved in all sorts of shenanigans with the Nazis. He initially, from what I can make out, was a sort of like a junior capo, and then he got involved in pointing out to a guy who his father, from what I can make out, he was Jewish. You see, Soros was Jewish. So at the time of the Nazi persecution, the father was very wealthy, from what I can make out, and was able to farm him off to somebody. And he must not look Jewish when he was a young boy. So this guy took him under his wing, and this guy worked for the Nazis. So Soros became his nephew, his adopted nephew, and went around the place pointing out to this guy where all the rich Jews were and their property and all the rest of it. So it's very disgusting stuff, absolutely disgusting stuff. But anyway, that's a different one. I'm not here to discuss that today. Just he is quite recently got together with a load of fund managers, hedge managers, and they're going to take a position vis-a-vis Greece, and they'll do all sorts of selling shorts on these credit default swaps on the bond market, the Greek bond market, and they're going to bring a huge amount of financial pressure, economic pressure to bear on all the markets that Greece participates in, and they're going to basically gut Greece. That's what they're going to do. Now, to put things into perspective, Greece's total indebtedness to the external world at the minute, its state debt, is something around about 200 billion. They say that the talk is that Soros and his minions that were at this meeting, it happened in New York apartment seemingly a couple of weeks back, and there was something like 14 or 15 hedge fund managers and Soros himself there, and you're talking about several $1 trillion. So that'll give you an idea of what you're talking about. Talking about colossal economic power, real power. So they're gonna have a go at Greece, and they're going to try and gut Greece, and to me that's financial terrorism. And if I were Greece and I was aware that was going on, I would have my intelligence service telling me, you know, I want you to find out what is going on. Is this going on? Right. What we're going to do is we're going to introduce measures in our parliament. A financial terrorism bill. Okay, that's number one. Then what we're going to do is, in absentia, we're going to draw up, if anybody does this against us, we're going to, specifically against us, with large amounts of money, it'll be deemed to be an attack on our sovereignty. That's what it's going to be deemed to be. And what we're going to do is, we're going to issue arrest warrants for them. And obviously you can't arrest them if they're in America. Obviously the arrest warrants would be invalid. There would be no validity to them. But so what we'll do is we'll just tell the Americans, they leave America, they come outside America, we'll do an Eggman on them. We'll grab them wherever they are in the world. So we're just giving you fair warning. So when you're talking about George Soros and all these guys that heads up these fund managers, this is all the good and the mighty. This is all the elite of the elite. These are all the super elite. These boys have serious economic power. So to challenge them like that, it would be a total affront to them, and that would be deemed to be an attack on the market. But you see, this is all an illusion anyway. This market shit. I'm tired of listening to this crap about markets. These fellas don't operate markets. These fellas operate casinos, and they're the house. When they go into a market, they own the market. They dominate the market. It's not a market anymore. They own it, lock, stock, and fucking 2 loaded barrels. That's what they do. These fellas like George Soros. They did it with they did it years ago with the Mexican peso. I'll tell you one thing, he won't be taking too many flights down to Mexico with that fella Soros. I'll tell you that now. They did it with the British pound. I don't know how they got a lot away with doing it on the British pound. I don't know that. I don't understand that. That was something I couldn't quite work out. There must have been some big political thing in the background. There has to be a reason for all these things. And the reason for all this thing at the moment, this is just a direct attack on the euro and the whole concept of the EEC and the EU. That's what this is. It's all on an attempt to undermine it for their political and economic gain, obviously, but primarily their economic gain. These fellas owe their allegiance to nobody, to no thing. These fellas would sell their fucking grannies for the right price. They would. They'd sell their own children. They'd sell everything if the right money was on the table. These boys they've no morality, no ethics, nothing. Doesn't matter what he says about people who say to me, oh well, he's a great philanthropist. Bollocks that he's a philanthropist. These fellas only do this for tax reasons, nothing else. These fellas, if you were on fire, these fellas wouldn't piss on you to put you out. And I'm starting to lose my temper here, and I said I wouldn't do that, but I get very, very annoyed over this stuff. And I'm going to have to do another little post now to do the other two things which are about the church, one of my favourite subjects. Okay.